we have we'll just round it to $11 million. It was about 10.8 million of bonuses being awarded to senior executive staff. Now, to be honest with you, senior executives at any level, whether federal or contracted, are going to get big bonuses. That's been happening since the military industrial complex. Okay, welcome to America. So that's not the alarming piece of this that I would like to talk about, at least. The problem is Congress awarded $11 million to the VA to say, hey, I know you need this money. Go ahead and use it to recruit and retain those with critical skills. That's the issue, that this pot of money was for critical skills. Well, who would benefit from those, from doctors, physicians, neurologists, whoever, who would benefit from those in the right position with that critical skill set? Veterans. It's us, okay?
Right.
And so, and instead of the money going to retain and recruit those individuals, the high-level senior executives were like, well, a new boat sounds pretty cool, right? I could go to the MGM and, put half my bonus down on 32 black, however that game is played. I'm not really a gambler, but whatever these rich people do, right? I assume that's what they do, boats and gambling. Probably not too far from the truth, to be honest with you. The MGM is right across the street from DC, so I'm sure they all frequent that place. But it really that's what bothers me, is the money from Congress allotted to the VA for critical skills incentives, and the senior executive staff, the SES. So first of all, let's just talk about senior executive. You have the GS scale from 1 to 15. That's where your, 15 being pretty high. I would say 13, 14, 15s are up there. 12 is pretty normal. And then below that, right, is like entry level. The SES is above that scale, right? It's we're talking senior executive. In the military world, it would be a general officer level, right? Equivalent of like a 1, 2, 3 star. That's the people we're talking about. It's the SES, senior executive staff level, taking these bonuses from the critical skill incentive program. And so that's kind of the baseline. Jason, I want to hear your thoughts. I'm sure we can talk about this forever. I am super, against the deep state. So let's just get on this boat right now.
Yeah. No, I agree. And, it's like 180 of these people received bonuses ranging anywhere between, I think it was $39,000 or something to $100,000 each, individually, equating to the $10.8 million. And again, that money was earmarked for these critical skill positions that either the VA was having a hard time recruiting for, or they needed to, incentivize somebody to stay and not leave, right? Retain. But instead, they ended up in the pockets of all these executives. And it's funny, the spin that the VA puts on it. We noticed that this went out, and we asked the OIG to come investigate, how this. It really it's so confusing, and it's weird because it's not as simple as this money came in and it just it just floated back out. No, people had to make an executive decision, right, to send it somewhere and to specific people. So it was, in my opinion, my humble opinion, it was absolutely an intentional payment out of earmarked money that I believe either somebody threatened whistleblowing or somehow somebody noticed that was outside of that group, or somebody that had a conscience, something, and started to mention some things, and then next thing you know, somebody else said, oh yeah, you know what, you're right, yeah, that's weird, I don't know why, we should, and then next thing you know, here we are. So short-lived. This has been going on. This happened in September, I believe, of 2023, and it's just a sad situation, because that this is just one of these things that we get a peek behind the curtain, right? How many times where there was some extra money, and it could have been used for this or that, but you know what? Let's slide it over here. And like you said, Clay, at the end of the day, who is being hurt and who is being impacted is veterans, and not in a positive way. Because again, these are those, look, the critical skills are those that are so hard to find and hard to have to begin with, that we need to do everything we can to keep them and find them and bring them on board, offer them bonuses to bring them on board, because they can go make more money across the street. So we're trying to attract them in a different way for the betterment of veterans. And it's just sad that, I guess when you get to, like you were talking about, a new boat and gambling, right? So I guess, it's sad that when you get to the point to where, that's more important than the people you serve, is your own. And it's not like they need it to eat, right? We're not talking about people that need a few extra tens of thousands of dollars to go buy some food for the year or three. This is people that are doing just fine. And at the expense of a veteran, is a really kind of hard pill to swallow. And it's a very sad situation. And, if there's foul play, again, kudos to the OIG, by the way, because the OIG has been doing some really good work as of late, and I feel fairly confident that, if there was some foul play somewhere, that hopefully that will get rooted out. So, back to you.
Oh yeah. So the Washington Post covered this story. They had early access to the OIG report before it went public. And if anyone's wondering, look up Washington Post, Lisa Rain. If you want to read this story, she really goes into the details of how it all unfolded. And I like how you brought it up. You said, the VA was like, oh, now that it's public, I don't know. And when I was reading it, I felt like I was counseling a junior Marine. I'm Sergeant Sims, back on the block. I got my PFC so and so, Lance Corporal so and so. I'm like, why did you get drunk and bring a stripper into the barracks?
Why?
They're like, I don't know. Right. And as I was reading it, that's essentially what the VA secretary did, was saying, oh, I didn't know this was happening. It's like, okay, well, let's go look at the Undersecretary of Health, who, by the way, allocated the funds. He's a key player here. I forgot his name. It starts with an E.
Sharif Ellenhall.
Yes, exactly. He had first stated, oh, well, I don't know. But then there was email traffic of a very detailed Excel sheet of saying who's getting what and how much they're getting. And he was like, oh, it was,
that.
I read the email on my phone. It's like, dude, am I talking to a private right now? Or are you the Undersecretary for Veteran Healthcare?
The print was small, Clay. Small print.
Yeah.
Couldn't read it all.
And so that's just, there's no good answer for it. I just think it really goes back to our last episode, which was, pre-flood in the house. We talked about transparency with the VA. The only entity forcing transparency is the OIG, right? So the OIG, in my book, has two thumbs up. I would just prefer across the board, VBA mainly, but VBA and VHA, just be transparent, right? It is it's U.S. taxpayer dollars. Why can't they be transparent?
Right.
Riddle me that.